All right, let's get started. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today, especially on a Saturday evening for the PGPMAX Student Diaries hosted by the PGPMAX office at ISB. My name is Thomas, and I'll be your host today. Our Student Diaries is a outreach initiative that brings together PGPMAX participants of the current year so that they can share their experiences. And it is also an opportunity for you to ask our current participants about the program experience, why they decided to join PGPMAX, how the program is helping them professionally, and essentially get an insider input into the program. So we do hope that this is going to be an event that will give you the right set of info and the right set of experiences shared here so that you can vet the program to see if this is the right program for you. So please do write in your questions as we progress with the conversation today. To type in your questions, please do list it into the Q&A box, which is available towards the bottom of the screen. And I'll be happy to share these questions with our panelists as we progress. We had also received a lot of questions from your end as you registered for the event. After a short introduction, I'll be asking some of these questions to our panelists and we'll take it forward from there. Please do bear in mind that today's Q&A will be limited to the program experience and to our panelists. If you do have any program or admission related query, please have this with us offline. I'll be sharing a one-to-one conversation link in the chat box in some time. Please use this link to book a separate conversation with us, and we'll be happy to guide you if there is a specific question on the program that's related to admissions. So without much delay, let me invite our panelists for today. We have Ashish Naidu. Ashish was a former connected electrified propulsion system and mobility lead for Ford USA. He's had extensive career with Ford and with Land Rover Jaguar in the UK, in the US. He was part of the research team before he moved to India. We'll shortly ask him what prompted him to come back to India and join the PGPMAX program as well. Welcome, Ashish. And I also have Shekhar Pidatala. Shekhar is a vice president with Bank of America. Shekhar also has had extensive career in technology, both in the US and in India, and then decided to pursue his PGPMAX at ISB. Welcome, Shekhar.
Thank you.
And I also have Suraj Bansali with me. Suraj is the global head for clinical data and analytics at Accelera. Suraj has had a lot of experience in the pharma side, in clinical research and data analytics in US and in India, and has had has a lot of accolades to his profile as well. We'll shortly deep dive into his profile as we go ahead with the conversation today. Welcome, Suraj.
Thanks, Thomas.
Now, all of this said, it'll help our participants today to get a context into your profile, into your journey, and what brought you to PGPMAX. A lot of them are, in fact, interested in knowing what really brought you here back to India, now that you have had a lot of experience abroad. Why choose PGPMAX and why come back to India? And what was your background before you started the PGPMAX journey? So let's move around in the panel and get glimpse into your journey into PGPMAX. Ashish, let me start with you. If you could help us with your background, what did you do before and what brought you to India? What brought you to PGPMAX? That will help.
Gosh, several questions, but I'll try to put it in a
sure.
Short answer. I'm an automotive R&D professional, and I have a passion for developing cutting-edge powertrain technologies for a sustainable future. I've got nearly 15 years of experience in fostering innovation and driving excellence in the industry. So answering to your next question, why did I come back to India? There are several reasons. Like I've been away from India for 17 years. I studied there, and eventually my long-term goal was to come back to India, and that in a way, thanks to COVID, it gave me time to think and recalibrate things. So yeah, I chose to come back. And why PGPMAX? I think there's several reasons for that, to be frank. One being like having come back to India, I wanted to take a break and acclimatize at the time. Joining ISP was very tempting, being the best school in the nation. The curriculum and it also like had a right set of curriculum, like in leadership, strategy, and finance, which kind of aligned with my professional goals. And that while I'm on a break, I thought this is the right chance to, gain new skills and advance my knowledge and abilities. And most importantly, like working with a broad group of professionals from diverse backgrounds. That's where my learning would be accelerated uh, while I'm trying to understand the landscape in India. Why? Another thing, like the timing. In terms of timing, I thought like this is the right time. It was carefully evaluated. Um, I looked at the program, what it was offering, spoke to a lot of alumni, and considered my academic readiness as well. And considering all that thing, and I thought it is an opportune moment to get back while I'm here to study and gain new skills while I'm exploring the Indian landscape.
Excellent. Thank you, Ashish. Just a follow-up question there. In fact, this is there from a lot of our registered participants who registered for the event. You had an extensive career in engineering, and then why did you decide to do a PGPMAX program, and how is it going to help you? What is your thought on it?
I do get this question myself quite a few times. Like, I think engineering is something like automotive engineering I wanted to do since I was in 8th grade. So it was a very conscious thing. So moving from how to do things to what to do things. That's my logical next step is. 15 years working at developing sophisticated, high cutting edge technologies, working with one of the best in the industry, basically. I thought like, okay, this is the time when I have to move up the ladder and start thinking, how do I become a leader who can define what the organization should be? What should be the vision of the organization? And what kind of leadership skills we need to develop to get to that point. So I think it is a natural progression, going from how to what, going from being how to being to what kind of role. Hope that makes sense, I guess.
Yes, it does. And let's deep dive into that as we progress with the conversation. Shekhar, let me come to you next. Extensive career in technology, been there in the US and here, and you're driving large teams. What brought you to PGPMAX? Could you give us a context to your journey, please?
Sure, Thomas. So I think the last 2 decades of the professional experience has been around achieving the performance and driving the growth, right? And we do learn a lot of things as we move in our career lives. But at times, you think, and this is something that happened to me also. You kind of think that there is a dearth, in terms of a structured approach, right? And the application of that thought process, of the structured thought process, and this is where I thought, probably it's the right time to do an executive MBA, if not a full MBA, because that calls for a fully dedicated time and effort if it's a full-time MBA, right? And then moving away from work and family, we do have those constraints as well. So keeping all those in mind, I think an executive MBA would definitely make sense, and just to bring method to that madness, that's been there for like 20 years. And yeah, I mean, so that's the reason why I thought PGPMAX is the right platform, because it gives a little bit of flexibility. I would still say that it is as equivalent as to a full-time MBA, because the amount of the rigor and the effort that we have been putting in the last 12-13 months has been equivalent. The only plus side, I think, is 5 weeks of work and 1 week of 5 weeks of work. Yeah, 5 weeks of work and 1 week of college, right? So that kind of brings a little bit of relief. Right, yeah. So I'll probably leave it there.
Excellent. I have one follow-up question there. So you did consider executive MBA in the US, and in fact, your journey started way back. You were exploring multiple programs, and then you finally decided that, okay, PGPMAX at ISB might be the best fit for you. What was the rationale for that decision?
So I think, I should say, maybe I would say romance with ISB is not 2022. It started back in 2005, actually. The initial days of ISB. In fact, I did take up the GMAT course also to do, the full-time flagship program of ISB PGP. And I couldn't pursue them because of the other commitments that I had. So I always wanted to do a program in ISB, and I think that kind of made me land here. So I think it's probably a long time intent, and as I put it, as a romance with ISB, I think it's been there for quite some time. So 2005, I wanted to do it. 2012, I've done an executive program with ISB, and in 2022, I'm doing the PGP Max. So the journey continues with ISB.
Excellent. Thank you, Sheikh. Suraj, let me come to you next. Your profile is into pharma. You've been into research also. In fact, a lot of people would consider PhD as a terminal degree. So you took a PhD, and then post some years of career, you decided to do a PGP Max as well. Give us some insight into your career journey, please. What brought you here?
Sure, Thomas. Thank you. I hope you can see me, hear me well.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, I had a bit of internet issue, but I think I fixed it now. So good. Thank you. First of all, good afternoon, good evening to all those who are listening. And like my fellow panelists, my friends, classmates, I've been also abroad. I was in the US for 18 years. I went there for master's. I did my master's in neuropharmacology from South Dakota, and then PhD from SUNY Buffalo. And after that, I worked in a core R&D with Novartis. Learning is my passion, actually. I did consider doing an MBA after my pharmacy, but then I wanted to get a domain knowledge and expertise, so I continued within my stream of studies. While working at Novartis, I did consider Executive MBA. I had started a process, not to the level of application, but at least collecting information. I visited Wharton and then NYU and Columbia. But for me, coming back to India was a higher priority, and I got that to come back here. So I chose to relocate to India. And once I settled down, this bug of wanting to learn more or doing MBA again came back. Fortunately, Novartis, I was in core R&D. In the thick of drug development, I worked on 30, 40 different drugs. 3 of them made it as medicine in medical stores, helping patients. But my role in India is a business leadership role. I'm heading a business unit of about 150 scientists. So now as a part of this role, I'm managing P&L. So it's like a mini CEO type of role, if you will, business unit head. During this process, I realized there are some learning gaps. I thought it would help to fill those. Anyway, I had this inkling to do MBA or something. In fact, if you look at my profile back in 2013 or 14, I did a mini MBA from Rutgers. Yes, you heard it right. Mini MBA is a real thing. It's one semester. It's more like a showroom, and if you like, you go to warehouse kind of thing. I did from Rutgers, a pretty well-ranked school as well. And that increased my curiosity to learn more. And hence, even though PhD is a terminal degree, I've been a bit of a maverick. And this does help me bridge the gap or knowledge gap in the field of business. And as we go forth, we'll discuss some of the learnings as well. So maybe that answers the question, Thomas.
Yes, Suraj. Thank you for sharing that. Now, there's a lot of questions that I received, which is more around, how do you manage the program? How do you manage time in the program? Now, that is of some concern for a lot of people, because at a functional leadership role, you'll have a lot on your table from a professional end, and your personal front is also something that you'll have to address to. And in the middle of all of this, every 4 to 6 weeks, you have to invest about 1 week here. Let me ask all of you how you manage this. I'll go in circles from one to other. Shekhar, let me start with you. A big team that you're managing. So professional front is full, personal front is very active, and then you have to pull off 1 week every 5 weeks to come to ISB. And when you're here, it's not easy at all. There is the academic rigor and the networking rigor. How do you manage all of this? Shikhar, we can't hear you.
Sorry, I was on mute.
Yeah, sorry.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah. Okay. So you're right. There's a lot of time, energy, and commitment, right? That's required for this program, and it is very important to have a buy-in from the key stakeholders in your life, right? That starts with your family, right? Because you're sacrificing. When I say you, it's not me, right? It's not us who's going to sacrifice. It's the family who's sacrificing their vacation, the personal time that they need to spend. Similarly, work. There are a lot of commitments at the work level that we have, um, and you know we've been doing that for 12, 13 months. I think the right amount of support required. That's why I said the buy-in. A buy-in is required from all these key stakeholders first before you take the plunge. And once you take that plunge, there is no going back. So it's only moving forward. You know, I would probably just leave it at that because that's exactly I mean, personally, that's exactly what I have kind of leveraged both at work as well as at family, and a big thanks to them.
Excellent. Thank you, Shikhar. Suraj, let me come to you. You just spoke that you do manage a large team. You are having a functional leadership role. But then last we spoke, you also mentioned that you spend a lot of time at ISB. You come here to the campus every morning. You spend a lot of time here. So you're pulling off that 1 week extra hours and extra days as well. How are you able to manage so much time, and how should somebody considering the program also manage their time?
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy. So it's not easy. But then, as they say, impossible is nothing. So if you really decide to do it, you need to commit to it first with yourself. And like my friend Shekhar said, you need buy-in from everyone, family and work. So I've been discussing about my boss, who happens to be the CEO of the company, and they've been supportive. You need to set the right expectations. Usually the week before we come to ISB is jam-packed, very busy, because everybody knows I'm not going to be there for a week. And once I come back after ISB, that week is also crazy. First few terms it does get more crazy, because we also like a kid in a candy store, like excited, making new friends. Everybody is in the same spot, vulnerable, no judging, learning, and all this. That energy does carry you through personally, but like Shekhar mentioned, it's also your family. And we discussed this as a family before committing to admission, and all these things are really important. Personally, like there is no vacation. One thing I just happened to be in Hyderabad. When I moved back from US, I was okay to move anywhere in India because it was going to be closer than being there. Luckily, I got a job in Hyderabad. And when I explored the other programs and chose to come to ISB, what I did was I moved closer to ISB last year. Earlier, I used to stay in Secunderabad area. I moved closer to ISB. And that allows me to visit ISB even when there are no terms, actually. So maybe go there for library or walk or whatever. Most of my clients or company clients are in the US and Europe. So the work starts a little bit later in the day, and that does allow me to use mornings to go to ISB campus and use the campus effectively. It's been adrenaline rush. I mean, so far so good. It's been 1 year. The tail is, I mean, the light at the end of tunnel is visible now. Just more terms. But everyone do keep in mind that you have to make a commitment of at least 2 years, more or less 1.5 years, and get all the stakeholders involved and inform them. In fact, it's funny, I wrote a message in my family group before starting the program that I'm doing such and such a thing, and I apologize in advance if I miss anybody's birthday or anniversary or wedding function or anything. So that was, they also made fun of me, but also it was well appreciated actually. So
Excellent. Thank you, Suraj, for keeping it candid, and that definitely gives a lot of insight to our participants. Ashish, let me come to you next. Now, one of the things that have fascinated me is you do travel down to for these immersions, and whenever these immersions are happening, apart from the networking that happens within ISB, I've seen you being active in networking otherwise as well. So you network within ISB, within the larger ecosystem. You're quite active in the EV space. How are you managing all this with the time constraint that you have, and how do you manage the rigor at ISB?
To be frank, like for me, one advantage I have when compared to others is like I have taken a break. That kind of like, but at the same time, like for me, when I started, I gave a lot of time to invest. I invested a lot of time in relearning. We've been away from formal learning process for a while. Like, okay, there's a lot of learning happens during work, but I wanted to give time to get used to that. So, but coming to ISP and the networking part of things, there's a lot of opportunity out there. There's a lot of resources, and I take the opportunity to reach out to few professors, reach out to people who are associated with the EV space. Not just EV, there's other areas as well, like I could learn from. So I kind of like make use of the opportunity to network. I'm fortunate to have a cohort which is like I kind of created a map. We have people coming from east, west, north, south, everywhere in India. So how lucky I am, like coming back to India after 17 years, and I'm creating a network sitting in one place. A lot of time goes in that part. I purposely spend time on knowing people and learning from them. So I think for me, it's that the being on the campus is the most satisfying time actually.
Excellent. Ashish, just a follow-up question there. In fact, a lot of our applicants ask these questions to us. Is it okay to do the program while you are on a career break? Is it okay to take a sabbatical and do the program? That's something that constantly comes up. Now, it is not necessary. In fact, the program is designed in a way that you can pursue the program while in full-time work. But then how is your experience? You are taking a career break and you're pursuing this program. What are some of the benefits of doing it that way?
I would not say that you have this way or otherwise. Like Shekhar and Suraj are managing while they're working. They've got a lot on their plate to deal with. In my case, like I thought, like as you said previously, being in the research and engineering, I wanted to take that break to recalibrate myself, um, and and try to first thing coming back, I wanted to acclimatize, make new friends. A lot of time spent traveling and meeting old friends. That's something I wanted to give time for. But I think the program is well structured so that you can manage both. Yes, there is a lot of rigor there. You have to read a lot of stuff before coming to the campus. During the campus time, like the day just flies away. You start the day in the morning with assignments and case studies, and there are a lot of debates and different viewpoints. The time just flies away. Then in the evening, there's some party happening. And then there's some assignments happening, group assignments happening. So yes, there is a lot of time required to be put in, but that is the whole purpose of doing this course, isn't it? This is the wholesome learning experience you want to create. And if there is no rigor, I think the learning would. I think I don't feel satisfied with the learning then. So I think overall, yes, you can manage. I made a choice. That's a different thing, different part. But there are people who always ask me this question: is it a right way to do it? It all depends on your personal situation. It all depends on your professional situation, or it all depends on your personal choices as well. The person you are, like, for me, I needed that. I count for the transition to happen. For some people, it would be different, right? So you have to know your own methods. You need to know like what is the right way for you. Do your research, understand the curriculum, network with people, and then you'll get a better understanding. Should I take a break or not? So I think both ways can be done.
Thank you,
So,
Ashish. Thank you for drawing that out.
Thomas,
Yes, Shekhar.
sorry, something relevant that I just want to add, and it
Yes, please.
we may be able to connect very well. All of this. These kind of executive MBA programs in particular, right, is like a stage. Be it an EMBA or an MBA, it's a stage that you come on, and you want to do this journey. And when you're doing this journey, you're not alone, right? So you have the entire cohort with you. In our case, it's 75 people, with us, and they will come along with you during this journey. And if I can just draw an analogy, it is something like, you're standing on a platform in a Mumbai local station, and you just get onto the train even if you don't want to, right? So people push you into the train. So it's that kind of a experience. You would, even if you don't want to do it, people will drag you, people will get you into the participation. It's going to be an enriching experience, learning as well as partying.
Excellent. Shekhar, let me stay with you there. You brought out an important point. Now, the cohort in ISB, now, at least from an admission point of view, we put a lot of effort to ensure that the right mix of cohort is put together every year for PGPMAX.
Right.
And it's a very diverse community. People come from various walks of life, various backgrounds, various industries and functions, and also various stages in their career. Now, in fact, in your cohort, it is, there's somebody who is an IPS officer. There are people from defense. There are people from various fields within business. There is a sailor turned investor. There's somebody from the fashion industry, and so on.
Yeah.
So we can keep counting all these names, and all 75 profiles are very different. Now, how does that diversity help in a program like this? And what are some of the benefits that somebody, a prospective applicant, can pull out from the diversity?
Right. Sure. I think, as you rightly said, profiles of varied nature is something that we see. And the first day, or maybe the first week when we were at ISB, when I looked at the kind of the profiles and, interactions that we have, I was thinking, okay, well, there's a world beyond technology. And the intellect doesn't just lie in technology, but it's just beyond that, right? So there's manufacturing, there's fashion, there's administration, there's a lot. So yes, the experience is diverse, and the amount of knowledge that people bring onto the table is extremely great. It's always a personal journey, I would say, because when you're going there, you're actually meeting quite a few people, quite a few profiles, different perspectives, and more in terms of the learning, right? I think it's just that every facet that you actually come across in your journey, it's really appreciable. And that diversity, definitely helps in enriching your learning experience. The perspectives would change in life. The way you want to look at things is probably different. If I can just say that, we would probably, before, MBA, right? I mean, I would probably be looking at, hypothetically, I'm saying, I would probably just be looking at the next level, right? But what is important, and that I've learned after doing this program, is to enjoy the journey rather than just jumping on to the next level. Not just in career, but even in life also. But it's very important to understand that journey, and this kind of added a great value. And not just that, I think you have access to a network of smart, driven, and like-minded individuals also. That they really want to make a difference in their personal lives, to the world, and to their professional lives also, right? And people are there who are there willing to share and collaborate with you. There are quite a few startup ideas, that have actually plunged in this cohort itself, and people have started the journey. So it's it's a lifelong learning experience, and it's 75 plus new friends in life that you make, and there are value added benefits that you actually get. So
That's insightful, Shekhar. Thank you so much. Suraj, let me come to you next. Since you've been championing learning and continuous learning for some time, what is learning in PGP Max like? Can you take us to the classes? How does learning happen? If you could share some examples of learnings that you took back to work, that will help set some context for our participants today.
Sure, sure. I mean, there is plethora of new stuff there to learn and absorb. Even I was skeptical earlier, but now I feel like, it's an ocean of new knowledge. And if anything, it's our limitation to more read, actually quite fast-paced. Like Shekhar mentioned, and you also mentioned, the cohort itself is quite diverse. And variety is the spice of life, actually, right? So you get so much variety. You not only have the IPS officer and defense, you have banking, CS, petrochemical. Now, as a side note, this is in the class, they bring their professional experience to enrich the discussion on the topic that's ongoing. As a side note, some of these people are best swimmers, they are singers, they are dancers, they are joggers. So you will have a company for anything and everything. It's not easy to make friends after a certain age, but PGP Max allowed that opportunity because we mingle 7 days on campus, wine, dine, jog, walk together. Now, coming back to learning, the coursework is designed pretty meticulously, actually, carefully, to keep it comprehensive, not specialized to any one thing. At the same time, everybody gets something out of it. So far, I don't think I have had any dull moment from the point of course content itself, actually. The professors are top-notch from some of the best business schools in the world, including ISB residential faculties are amazing. Kudos to ISB and faculties for getting this top talent, actually. So the coursework and the, excuse me. The best part about the ISB course is it's a case-based studies, actually. So it's a practical application, not just a bookish knowledge. Now, everybody who comes here, the minimum requirement is 10 years of experience. So some of us have 10, 15, 20. The class average is 17 years of experience. Now, when you combine this, there is 1,000 years of experience sitting in that classroom. So what I liked is some of the professors come and they're excited. They're like, hey, you know what? I've been teaching for 15 years, but we love teaching to PGP Max because this is the only class where I get to learn from you guys. So of course, the Harvard case studies, the books, and the peer learning, it's been fantastic. Now, specifically, for example, pricing, we had B2B marketing, we had accounting, we had the global operations. Although I'm from pharma industry, I never been on the manufacturing side. I've been in R&D, in lab, working with animals, later with humans, dealing with data. So in my view, my thinking was, hey, operation is probably limited to factory. But then this course made me realize, hey, operations is relevant everywhere, even in hospitals, even in hospitality, you name it, and it's relevant. So same thing, pricing, I mean, taught me, it may seem counterintuitive, but you can actually lower the price of an item and be more profitable. I'm like, how is that possible? Like, if you want to increase the profit, you'll have to increase the price, and not necessarily. You learn the difference of cost versus price versus value. Or we talk about data, but now we learn that, hey, data is meaningless without insight. So these are the subtle things that make a comprehensive package to make it meaningful. Every time I go back after the term, even my boss is excited. Hey, what did you learn this term? How was it? What can tell us something new? And I do have a relevant conversations with either a CFO or CTO. Hey, do we do this or can we do this? So even they are excited with these curious questions. So it's been quite value add and meaningful.
Thank you, Suraj. Ashish, let me continue that thought to you now. Let's talk a little about the in-class experience. Now, specifically in your case, I know that there are so many ideas that have pivoted from the in-class experience that you had. You are working on something right now. Without really revealing any of the details, um, you got an idea out of a class. You are having multiple discussions with people in the industry on ideas related to EV as well. So talk us a little about the in-class experience. How is it? How is the whole experience like?
Right. It's very enriching. I think Suraj put it really well. More, but in addition to the 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 learnings we get through the case studies and learning from the best faculties, like for me, like when for me looking at a balance sheet was scary. Like I always thought like, okay, this is not my part of the thing. Like now I'm very comfortable. Like I realize that's the language of business. So if I don't know the language of business, then what is the point I'm in this business, right? So yes, there were that aspects where the fundamentals were also taught, and then we have quite a good professors coming from the US, like Simi Kedia, and I think it was Suryan Mansingh. They brought in a lot of case studies to come to to add to that. For us, like we were very curious about it. A lot of us didn't have finance background. We have quite a few CAs in the class. They also helped us. Like when we sit in the class, we have some different understanding. They help us out through to further enhance our understanding. So you can see like there are case studies that are brought in, which makes an industry experience, the real field experience, and then there are people around you who help you out. There are professors who consult major businesses in the world who have written quite a lot on these topics. And they bring in a lot of frameworks. Like I think like if I make a booklet of the framework, that's good enough for me in the rest of the career, right? So wherever I find either to innovate or to come out of a problem I'm dealing with, I have those frameworks handy. I have those now I also have people who've been through that journey with me to reach out to them and say, look, we had discussed that thing before and I'm stuck with this, can you help me out here? And similarly, the ideas I'm working on are coming out of talking to these people. A lot of people don't understand what a electric vehicle is. Like, okay, is it like people have this understanding of a system, but it has its own complications. So when I talk to people, I realize, okay, these would be this is how the customer thinks, right? And because of that, I've further refined my ideas talking to them. And while I'm working, this is like what we call it as a test environment for me. So yeah, in terms of learning, I think Suraj put it really well. Like where the rigor there is the thing for me, the learning from the cohort was also very helpful. People come with different perspectives. People come with they all have different journeys, different experiences, and for me, learning that was very useful in further refining my concepts going forward.
Excellent. Ashish, let me stay with you for the next question. There were a lot of questions that our participants had asked on the executive coaching in the program. Now, executive coaching is a separate offering in PGPMAX. There are access to 300 plus modules. How beneficial is that? Because you've already had 15 plus years of experience in the industry. Probably you already had a lot of coaching experience. You already probably have mentors in the industry. Is this a value add? Is this something that kind of seconds your journey within PGPMAX? What is your experience been?
Yeah, it was really transformative. Like for me, like I was very fortunate to have a lot of mentors and teachers in the industry. But here, I could have a personalized coaching happen, where valuable tools and techniques for personal development and also like how do it's mostly on the emotional intelligence side of things. How do you enhance your leadership skills? Coaches are like, these are the coaches who are personal coaches uh, to the leaders in the industry. The guy I was working with was from Portugal, and he was I think from PNG, and he also coaches one of the leading football players, right? So you know, they have this experience they bring in. They learn from others, and those learnings can be shared with you. You don't have to, you can learn um, from the experience of others, and they have tools and techniques, and they allow you to dig deep into yourself and come with solution. That was very very transformative for me. I was not a fan of coaching and all prior to this. But after this, I think that was the best thing that had, being able to learn about myself, being able to talk to someone where some of the things I wouldn't have spoken to in a professional setting. So that was really helpful. I think I must say that was one of the best things PGPMAX had.
Thank you, Ashish. Suraj, let me come to you next. Another advantage with PGPMAX is the international immersions. You've already done one. You already went to London Business School. You're slated to go to Wharton in August. What value do you see out of this? So we already have global faculties coming. What is the advantage in going to another school and having this international immersions? What has been your takeaway from it?
Sure. Thanks, Thomas. So London Business School was a mixed experience because many of us fell sick after going there due to change of weather or whatever. So we extracted as much as we could. And to be honest, you are right. I thought, hey, I already studied in the US. I did master's and PhD in 2 different universities. What new I'm going to say? But then I was surprised with something, which is when we are in India, we are studying case studies which are India specific or US specific. Whereas going to London Business School, we learned about some of the case studies from Europe actually. And one may think, hey, what's so special about it? But there are so many nuances that are different. And while I was working for Novartis is a Swiss company, so I was exposed to some of the European culture. But within Europe, once you go there, you realize different territories, different regulations and whatnot. So if you want to get in a business, or even as an executive wanting to expand in Europe, it really helps to get the local perspective from there actually. In a way, it was also good to find out that some of the, like you said, some of the faculties we get in India from abroad are at par or better than London. So it validates further that what we are doing here is actually really, really awesome. Our classrooms are probably smarter, but then their school is older. So that's why I said it's been mixed, but nevertheless, I think it was good experience. It gives perspective, a different perspective, which further enriches the overall experience.
Thank you, Suraj. Shekhar, let me take your perspective on both executive coaching and international immersion. If you could share some light on that, please.
Sure. Let me go with the international immersion first. I think first, as Suraj pointed out, the Europe connection, right? So my prior to Bank of America, I was with AXA. Being a European insurance company, based out of France, so I did have that connection with the Europe and the Europe market. But getting an academic experience, it's been quietly surprising and very interesting, in fact, the journey. And I should say that it's, but whatever that we are doing in ISB is no less, right? It's faculty, the professors, the curriculum, it's absolutely no less. London experience, I think it's a perfect blend of knowledge and culture. And culture, I say, because there are a lot of local case studies, that we kind of, did, and we did have a visit to a local community also to understand their digital transformation, which was, I think, I don't know, I don't remember exactly. Suraj, was it West London?
It was
Or
East
Ashish, do you
London.
remember? East London,
East
yeah.
London.
Yeah, so we went just down there, and we saw a lot of digital transformation that they are doing in the local communities there. So it was a very good perspective that we got, how things are changing across the world. It was an interesting moment. I think these experiences individually, I think, would have been an interesting on their own, and because they were combined, I think, one, the cohort, the professors, and the local flavor, more in terms of the market and and the case studies that we did. I think it's just been fantastic. So your other question was more on coaching. So I think
The executive coaching.
yeah, the executive coaching. Yeah. So I think, from a coaching perspective, my personal experience, I think, the coaches that we get are pretty solid, they're very, very professional, and comes with a lot of experience. That kind of gives us, a structured approach again, because I keep sticking to that structured approach because it's very important, in whatever that we're doing. And it kind of personally helped me to reflect on myself, on my goals, and how do I focus and prioritize them, right? So more effectively. So that kind of helped me a lot, the coaching, because it helped me arrive at an action plan also, which I am using, and I'm going to use it for my future also, in the future also, more in terms of achieving my um, the targets as the time progresses. That's been wonderful. I mean, coaching is one interesting journey, because we always think that we know everything, we are the masters of everything, which is unless somebody tells you, this is not the way that you do. There is another approach that you can take, and if that yields a more positive results, right? That's a calling.
Thank you, Shekhar.
Yeah.
Now, I'm taking some questions from what we had received from a. Yes, Suraj. Sorry.
If I can add on
Yes,
coaching
please.
a little bit,
Yes, please. Sure.
Shekhar recommended me something, and what he said is right. After 10, 15, 20 years of experience, you feel like what new you are going to learn. But let me tell you and everyone that coaching is very, very powerful tool. Actually, it is not tutoring. It is not prescriptive. So nobody is telling you do this or do that. The best part of coaching and the best coaches get the answer from within. It's more like a question answer type, and they help you reflect and find something that's brewing and narrow it down actually. So you may not have a perfect answer at the end of it, but you will have something to ponder over and ruminate, like, hey, you know what, yeah, maybe I should prioritize this more or that. If you think about it, I mean, now it seems no-brainer that even the best cricket player, Sachin Tendulkar, always had a coach, even at the peak of the career, or Messi always has a coach. So why not executives, right? I mean, we as executives, it doesn't have to be a one-person game. It is a one-person decision making, but you can get some of these thought processes vetted, not the decisions. I mean, it reminds me of a small story actually, where back in the days there was a king and he got a boon like a vardhan that, hey, I give you an assistant like a genie, and you can help him do anything. And the king used him to do anything and everything. Hey, go clean this, do this, bring that, this, that. The catch was, if there is no work for 2 days, that genie would kill the king. So he got frustrated. He's like, what do I do? So he contacted the Kulu Guru, or the Guru system, right? We had. And the Guru said, hey, you know what? Ask him to bring the longest wood from the jungle. He did. He's like, dig a hole, put that wood. So they made a pole out of it. And then said, ask him to go up and down the whole day. That's the task. So the genie did that, and he's like, what next? Like, no, do better next time. So the essence is the guru or the coach can help you solve the problem or move away the distractions, because the genie, as helpful as it was, becoming a distraction and a threat to the life. So this is a very simple, subtle example. And likewise, coaching, I also benefited a lot. And got a template to narrow down and think, and I'm following on the action items of coaching to basically effectively use in a day-to-day life. With coaching, as I think it may be evident or not, but the coaching is not just about your work. Actually, there is a coaching, there is a emotional coaching, there is like, you know, a lot of things, empathy, there are a lot of specialities. So I think it's a very powerful tool. So just wanted to add on to what Ashish and Shekhar already said. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Surya. That's very well put.
And I think the well-researched tools and techniques, that's a gold mine which you get access.
Excellent. Thank you. Now, let me sum all of this together because a lot of questions that I've received have a number attached or a designation attached. So there are questions like, I've got 10 years of experience. This is now the right time to do it. It's 15 years. Should I do it now? It's 20 years. Should I do it now? There's another question on, I've got 30 years. Am I too late for the program? Then again, a lot of designations attached. I'm a manager. Should I wait until become a director to do this? Is this right for only directors and VPs? Is it only for CXOs? Now, you've been through this entire journey. 9 terms are done. The 10th term is upcoming. So you're going to finish the journey by around December. How would you put it? When is it the right time to do PGPMAX? What would your advice or take be on that? Ashish, let me start with you on this.
Right time. I think all those designation and years of experience, they stay with you for first term. They just go away. The mask is off. Everyone is like, the kind of friendship and camaraderie that forms after that is amazing. You'll forget someone has less experience than you. No, he has his own journey. He has his own perspective. You're learning from that perspective. You're an expert in your industry, but there's someone who's done. There's always a better person than you. Timing wise, I think for me, it's more about being it's a call from within, right? I'm ready for that. I'm ready to take the academic rigor. Is there something I want to learn more and improve? Like Suraj said, the continuous learning thing. You'll be surprised, like among 75 people, you are in a mix of people who have achieved a lot in their career and still want to learn. And the kind of energy that there is in that room is phenomenal, right? So are you ready for that? That's the question you need to ask. Are you someone who is a continuous learner? Are you someone who wants to know more and excuse me, access to different resources, right? Or is there something? I think Suraj is doing his MBA post his PhD, right? There is one more person who moved back from Malaysia, and he's pursuing an MBA as well. Like there's a CFO from a multinational company out of Middle East, right? Why do they need but they all have this desire to further learn, desire to further enhance their learning. When a CFO is sitting and learning about financial engineering, he's learning a lot, right? And me being a research guy, I'm trying to learn from other areas like the tech guys, the finance, the people coming from consulting. I think there's a lot of learning available there. There's a lot of networking that comes with this. More importantly, to ask the question when I'm ready, it's like I think that should come from within. I think it is your inner calling, and also like getting into a club of people who have achieved and still are hungry to learn more. That kind of brings the humility that you see that there's more to do.
Thank you, Ashish. That is very well put. Suraj, what would your take be? When is it the right time to consider PGPMAX?
There is no wrong answer to this, I guess. The right time, I mean, I am a big fan of this saying that the best time was yesterday, the second best is today. So it's up to you how and where you are in your career journey and where it fits actually, what you want to get out of it. It's not about number of years. Like I said earlier, in our class itself, we have people with 10 years of experience, hardly 1 or 2, but many even with some with 20 also. So it's anywhere in between. Since the eligibility is years of experience, I guess next year of 10th year is the good time. Uh, it's never too late as well, right? I mean, this is the best investment on yourself, right? What is more valuable or worth in the world than yourself as an individual? So this is an investment of time or money, if you can afford, right, on yourself. So like Ashish also said, I would double down on that. When you think you are ready to absorb, it does come with a lot of commitment. You have to shed your facade, keep it out once you are there. The best part is once you are on campus in that environment, there is no VP, there is no doctor, there is no CFO, CTO, or even IPS officer. We just have fun and learn from each other. So I think it's always a good time if you are thinking about it. Absolutely, if you're thinking about it, which is a first step in making the decision. Then if other things fit your time and family and finance, nothing to stop. Yeah.
Thank you, Suraj. Shekhar, let me get your perspective also. What would your definition be of a best time?
Yeah, sure. Maybe I'll probably try to spin it a little bit differently. I think if there are attendees coming from the tech background, I think they'll be able to relate. I think most of the times, what we do is we tend to get into these management programs, whether short or long-term management programs. When we start to think getting into those management levels, maybe if my next plunge is going to be into the management rather than doing a technical job in terms of the role, is when, okay, let me do my MBA, let me do some short-term management program and then get into, those managerial positions. I would say, don't do that. You've been there in the technical domain for quite some time. If there is an opportunity that you could leverage within your organization in terms of performing a managerial position, do that for a couple of years or few years, and then experience an MBA. So because then you will come to a level of learning and unlearning, or rather unlearning and learning, right? So what we actually do in the organizations is different than when you actually study academically. And then you go back and then you try to do, what you have learned from here. You may not be able to do 100% what you have learned academically because, the real life nuances are completely different. So things would change. But at least, if somebody is doing something, whether it is finance or procurement or supply chain, at least why they're doing that, whatever they're doing, right? So I think that's more important. I think spend some time as a functional leader, and then get into these kind of programs. And as rightly put by my colleagues, I think there's no right or wrong time, and there is no right or wrong answer to this. So any time is the right time, and no title is exempted. Once we are in ISP for the week, we are students and nothing else, right? So that's kind of, I just wanted to, this takes a little while, but I still wanted to, say this, I think, and this question is quite relevant. So I do want to put this point forward. So I think it's no longer about reinventing ourselves, right, to stay relevant and contribute more. It is the time that we are in now, and the pace at which the technology is changing the world. I think it's more about how soon we can unlearn and learn. Right? And speed of change is very critical. And the shelf life of the old mindset has drastically been reduced. And the shelf life of the change itself is very less. Right? I think as we tend to be courageous enough to deal with the unknown, and we also have the humility to accept that you don't know, with and the integrity and the change by learning, right? So I think that's where I think we start developing ourselves. I think that That's what I would say. And then just leave it there. I think, if it made sense.
Okay, thank you, Shekhar. Another question. In fact, this is probably the second most questions that list of questions that I've received. It's all around ROI, and ROI. For some, it is around financial ROI. So the question is around, will I get a financial ROI out of this? Is salary going to be a 2x, 3x jump, and so on? There are also questions on, what might be the objective or outcome from this program? What should be expected, and so on. Now, from our experience, we do understand that if we talk to 75 of our participants, there are 75 perspectives to ROI. So I want to get all
We had
three of
75
yours as well.
ROIs.
Yeah, you get 75 ROIs. So Shekhar, let me start with you on that. How would you define the ROI for the program?
See, for me, it's never financial. Okay, that I would put it in the last. If I have to, prioritize, right? What I have seen in the thought process, personally, if I just try to self-reflect, right, there's a huge change, prior to 12 months and what it is, what I am now, right? I think it's all about, if I see myself, I think it's all about a refined change management, right? Better leadership capabilities, right? And it is all about speaking and comprehending the language of the business, right? And above all that is self-reflection. If these things are falling in place, and I think the financial ROI would definitely come, would follow these, is what I would say. And somewhere, I think, to your earlier questions, I was also talking about, the thought process has changed, right? So, I mean, I would say I was thinking maybe what should be my next level in the organization? How do I move up there? But now it is all about the journey that I would want to enjoy, rather than, the end result, right? So, yeah, I mean, it's a different perspective, but yes, ROI in terms of numbers would follow these.
Thank you, Shekhar.
Ashish, my advice or suggestion is that, don't look at the financial ROI immediately. Things will follow.
Well put, Shekhar. Ashish, let me get yours next. How would you define ROI in the program?
I have something similar perspective. The financial part of things is like it's given. You're in the #1 EMBA course in India. There's a lot of brand value that comes with it. But more importantly for me, like, in addition to the skills and knowledge you acquire, I think for me, it would be what I bring to the course and the network effect that amplifies the benefits, not just to myself and to the others. That's something I would look at. It's a very symbiotic relationship where each participant contributes and strengthen the collective success and the impact of the program. I think the network dynamics that comes with it, and also, like, you have a continual support from a group of uh, um, uh, future leaders that you can vouch on going forward. How do you quantify that part, right? uh, People pay, like, get into this networking and stuff like that, but here you have a network of people who had a journey with you. The bond you create, like, I always believe, like, after school, after college, this is at this age, this is my last chance to create that kind of bond, right, which will last for rest of my life, right? So how do you quantify that part, right? You're talking to VPs and CFOs and a IPS officer. um, how do you quantify those kind of network? How do you get this access? Now, in addition to everything, the financial is given for me, right? Coming from a best school in India, uh, but all other things, it's you have to think what do you will contribute, and how does that network effect will benefit others, and in that benefit, how do you gain out of that? So it's a give and take. If everyone comes with that attitude, I think we have that attitude in our core. um, I think that's where, like, it's very difficult to quantify. I would say, like, 4 times or 5 times of what you invest here is a return before even you get out of the course.
Thank you, Ashish. Suraj, what would your definition be for the ROI from the program?
Yeah, sure. I mean, in addition to what my friends have said, for me, see, I went to the US very young. So my undergrad friends mostly in Pune area. So when I came back, I mean, I have a lot of colleagues and peers, but no friends in Hyderabad or overall other than my undergrad friends. So now through this program, I have 75 new friends. I have a friend in almost every metro city. And not just that, like we discussed, these friends come from different backgrounds actually. So you can have a really intelligent conversation on any topic. You just pick up a phone and, hey, I didn't really understand this. I read this in ET or Business Standard, and can you help me understand? Now, these are the intangible ROIs if you value it. Of course, everybody will care and worry about financial as well, especially when you are paying a bomb for a program like this. That will also come. This is not going to be like a future and options, right? Consider this as an investment in a good stock or a mutual fund, which will eventually slowly pay off. If you are thinking of recovering a fees in next 1 or 2 years, it may not happen. Let me tell you frankly, it will not happen in 1 or 2 years. But if you believe in the eighth wonder, the power of compounding, I mean, here is a pharma guy talking finance language. So this course has that power actually, where it will slowly compound over years, and it will keep reaping these fruits on a long term. So ROI is both actually intangible, tangible, financial, non-financial. So it's how you perceive it and how you take it. Yes. And the knowledge and of course the learnings, they stay with you for rest of the life.
Thank you, Suraj. That's PGPMAX in action. Definitely. Thank you so much for putting it in a business way. There's a question from Harsh Kumar. Let me put it to the entire panel. Feel free to answer it. Now, Harsh's question is, in your journey of 12 to 13 months, was there anything which you had not expected from PGPMAX, be it learning, networking, or coaching? But the course delivered that and you were pleasantly surprised by it. So was there something that caught you by surprise is Harsh's question. Let me keep it open
Can I?
to pitch in there.
Yeah, Shaker, can I go on here?
Yes, Shiga, please.
Yeah. So that was indeed a surprise to us. It was supposed to happen in the first term, the first week that we were in. Officer was unwell, so it moved to term 8, which, like, I think we concluded in June. Yeah, maybe May, right?
So 8, I think.
Yeah. So I mean that's a surprise, and maybe if it would have happened in the first term, maybe I would say that we would not have probably understood the value of it, because it happened in term 8. I really appreciated it, and the topic is leading people and organizations. Professor Ram Nidumolu, amazing. I mean that's a surprise, right? More in terms of you know. The Indian way of leading the organizations. He has a book written, right? Two Birds in a Tree. It Indian mythology for for the business leaders, right? So leading organizations in the Indian way. Amazing classes. 5 days, about 12 classes we had. It's a real self-reflection and reinventing ourselves, and we were able to relate to what happens in the organizations and personally also, right? Because it's well structured and well mapped to the Indian mythology versus the the business corporate ladder. Amazing. I mean that's a surprise for me.
Excellent, Shekhar. Ashish and Suraj, I will pass it on to you as well.
For me, like, yeah, what LPO was really fascinating. Like it helped us to know a lot about what do our scriptures also talk about management. But in addition to that, the surprising bit was like it made a lot of thinking in me, right? I not just that I came to know a lot of things about me. I came to know a lot of things where I should further put more effort in learning in terms of if I have to, when I go to the industry, what would I be facing? The surprising bit was like it gave me an impression of what is coming when I get out of this course, right? What are the challenges I'll be facing? And I have the tools and techniques now, and I have the resources and network now um, to deal with it. So yeah, it's like it's a good mix. Like we had this last term where we were talking about storytelling, right? We had this uh, at the end of the term we were divided into groups and we were asked to do a skit uh, on on things. Typical, we started looking at case studies and tried to do a skit on it, but the creativity that came out of it, like Mahabharata and a business case, right? A consultant and a regulator discussion, that those kind of creativity was amazing. um, there's a lot of things we learn about us. There's a lot of things at the same time. It's very assuring. You know what? There's a lot of things that I will have to deal with when it comes to business, and I have a lot of support going forward. Yeah, if you ask me the surprise bit, I thought that is what was.
So it's a
I don't say that like the as Professor DVR told, like you have to get rid of your mask and see there's a lot more things out there. Yeah, surprising. That was the surprise.
Yeah, I think just one more point. I think I'm just trying to be on LPO. I'm still not come out of that hangover. I think what we have learned, I mean, personally, at least what I've learned is to, I mean, I was not, at times I used to feel that, some of the earlier organizations where I worked, probably I left very early, and I used to think, what went wrong and why did I have to leave the organization? And it probably, it took, for me, to join ISB to understand, why I would have left the organization early if I have left something. I think it's important to understand the purpose, your self purpose of being in here, this life, right? And if you can well articulate and understand the purpose of being here, and if that purpose somehow is in alignment to your organizational values or goals or objectives, then that's where you're going to spend more time, because both are married, right? So you're going to spend the rest of your career in that organization. I think that's something it took LPO to teach us, and at least it's a self-reflection for me, and it was very well understood and comprehended, I think, by most of us.
Excellent. Suraj, any surprises that came your way?
I mean, these probably the LPO, which is mixing ancient wisdom with today's corporate culture and relevance, was a surprise. Addition to what Shekhar said, that course didn't happen in first term. And the way it helped us is it helped us bond with each other more, actually. And like Ashish said, the drama and skit and no final exam, but you just enact the drama. But other than that, what surprised me is some of us made such a strong connections with each other that I wasn't sure if it's even possible at this age or at this stage, actually, with families, with kids. Even now, many of us, have kids, and for career counseling, for example, if they're in middle school or high school, we can just pick up a phone and help them talk to the person in that field, actually. So it's been good, nice, positive surprises that way. It's a full life, guys. I mean, it's more than 1 year, so you will see a mixed bag. You will experience everything, the good, bad, ugly, but the overall is good and positive that you get to see and learn and use.
Excellent. I'm also taking one more question which just came in. So One of our participants wants to know if there have been people from defense forces who are part of your cohort, and if the program is helpful for them. So anything that you would like to share on that, please?
Yeah, I mean,
I
we have what I seen. You want to go ahead?
no, I think no, you carry on. I just wanted to say that I think we can we are available on LinkedIn, and if you want to, we can connect with the cohort
Ah.
who are from defense. I think you can hear from them directly as well.
Yeah.
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 Please
I
go
mean,
ahead.
good point. What I seen firsthand as well is we do have folks from Navy, from Army, and and they appreciate it all the more actually, because they are like, hey, we are ready to step in the corporate world and we have no idea about how this world works actually. So they appreciate a lot of things, not just from the professors or classrooms or cases, also from discussions with us who've been in corporate world for 15 years or so on. A couple of examples is like some of our classmates from defense background, they came up with some good ideas to help the veterans or to help people in army or any defense and their families. And these are some of the entrepreneurial good ideas actually. So definitely, I mean, Thomas can help you, or any one of us can help you connect with them to get more insights. So you have a better, clear idea.
And they're getting a flavor of the regimental or hierarchy coming from there to see the chaos, right? Experience the chaos of civilian world. Yeah.
Right. I'm also passing on one question from our, one of our current cohort, which is going to come in. So they are going to start their classes by August, and one of our participants is from the incoming cohort. The question is, from now to when the class starts, what is the best way to prepare for the class? Is there something to be ready for? Is there some heads up that you want to give them?
Well, I think they really have to be mindful. Ragging is still not over. We are on campus.
No, he's kidding.
No, that's on a lighter side. But yes, I think most important thing, you would have got your pre-course material. Going through them before you come to the class would definitely add value, because there's a lot of basics that we all know we would have studied at some point in time. But I think it's always good to refresh, come back, on the first day of the campus. And apart from that, a lot of butterflies, right? Just keep them lively and don't let them fly away. You will enjoy the first day. You'll see a lot of faces. And in fact, I think what we have done, and I'm not sure if you guys are doing it, we tried meeting even before we stepped into the campus, right? So we tried meeting outside the ISB, just get to know each other. We had a couple of calls, right, Suraj? I think we had a couple of calls also before we got onto the campus. So that way, I think it just made us feel a bit more comfortable with each other than having that, I would say, for lack of a better word, hesitation, getting into the academics and to the unknown faces of about 70 plus people. I don't know. Suraj, Ashish, you want to add anything?
I would just say, like, you want to go, Suraj?
Go ahead, Ashish.
Yeah, I would just say, like, yes, talk to your cohorts, but I think, like, there's a lot that will happen once things begin. So give time for yourself, prepare for that busy schedule of reading a lot and more importantly, like, prepare for those kind of things in terms of courses and what to study and what to prepare. I think there'll be a lot coming your way once you begin. So focus on that part, network a bit, get to know. I think I and Suraj used to speak almost every day coming to the before the first term, and we got to know each other before meeting each other, right? So you can do a lot of those things, a lot of logistics things that get cleared, what people are doing. I don't know where you'll be flying in from, or you're local to Hyderabad. Yeah, work on that. And yeah, there could be few readings to do or something of your interest. Start looking at that. Learning to learn would be something interesting.
I think just come
Yeah.
with an open mind, right?
Yeah.
Right. So don't just come with an open mind, and you just have to, as Suraj and Ashish were saying in the earlier parts of this session, that you just need to remove your facade and come inside. That's
Exactly.
it.
So
Right.
everybody is
So
coming for learning.
yeah.
So everybody would be ready to learn and absorb. One thing I would say is come prepared to unlearn actually.
Yeah.
Unless you unlearn, if you get stuck in, oh, this is what we've been doing, or this is what I know, or this is how best we've been doing, then, it will limit the learning. So come prepared to unlearn some of the things and make space for new learnings.
Yeah.
Whatever is assigned as pre-reads, I would say, spend time to draw the maximum out of the course content and professor and learning and peers while you are on campus. You have to come prepared, then you can maximize it.
Yeah.
I know it's not easy with jobs and family and kids, whatnot, but hey, you made the commitment. So and this is where peer learning comes in picture. Once you get to know each other, we can even assign. So now we do this routinely. Before pre-reads, we assign cases to individuals, and that person will come prepared for that case, and that saves time for everyone. And at the same time, it builds camaraderie, learning. So I would say that between now and then, come prepared to unlearn and open mind, and read the material which is assigned.
And in fact, the course structure is designed such that if you come with the mask will be removed. Right? There's so much happening. The mask will go off.
If not the course, your cohort will remove the mask.
Yeah. No,
And it's an evolution. It's an evolution,
more,
so everybody will evolve differently. It may not be a same
yeah.
formula for everyone. You will have early risers, you will have night owls, you will have everybody. So you will find yourself and evolve through the process as well. So just be yourself.
Okay. I'm taking one last question which has come in. We have some questions, but I'm taking one, not comparing it with any other program. I'm rephrasing it a little. The question is more around, is PGPMAX considered as a strong program in the industry, and is it accepted in the business world? What might your views be? I'll leave it open. Please do share your views.
I'll go first, and then Shekhar and Ashish can add. The honest, candid answer is, I hope so. I don't know, still in the program. So, but the network is pretty strong. A lot of PGPMAX alumni are at pretty high level CXO positions within industry. They are quite good influencer and leaders. But I'll let you know in maybe 4 years from now, 5 years from now.
Keep following LinkedIn, right?
Yeah.
Right.
No,
Shekhar, Ashish.
I think not to compare with others, like we made a choice considering this being the number one course in the country. So I think we still believe in that, and we have enough evidence to going through the course saying that yes, this is one of the best courses we had. I did my master's in the UK, and I had been with with Ford, where we had great learning experiences. But the content here, the delivery, and the kind of faculty that they came in to teach us, and the depth of knowledge and information they had, and the network they have, it was assuring. Like for me, what I thought, or what I heard about the course, and the course itself has actually proven me right. I'm sure this is one of, in fact, this is the best course in India currently, at par with the many B schools in the world. LBS, London Business School, and we are going to now Wharton. The kind of network we are creating is phenomenal. So I think I can't compare with others, but I don't know much. But I can assure you that it is at par with the Western education, or in fact even better than that. I must say.
Shekhar, anything to add onto that?
Yeah, sure. I think my view is that it's really very assuring, I would say. And again, I don't want to compare with any other programs. It has its own flavor, and it has its own ranking, right? I mean, I'm sure all of you would have looked at the rankings of the ISB, the FT global rankings, be it the regular PHP, PGP, or even the executive MBA. Right. So it's really, really assuring. As rightly put by Ashish, also in terms of the case studies, it is one school, I would say, apart from the rest of the schools in India. That kind of, I think one really rare, may not be a rare, but I think more specific from the Indian context. It's a research-based school, right, compared to other business schools in India, and that kind of gives a little edge, definitely. Because you get to study Indian case studies also. I mean, last couple of terms, we had so many case studies, from the Indian market. It's really, really encouraging to see such kind of case studies, coming from ISB. It definitely adds value, not just to to us who are currently in the cohort, and I'm sure it is going to add value to the society also when we actually want to give it back, to the community.
And in fact, like just to add one, Shekhar was talking about research. Now I'm actually have started working on a research paper with a professor in the US, who came to teach us on strategy. So that's the kind of network I'm creating, right? It's the same quality of the network I had in the US. That says it all, right?
Excellent. Thank you. And there are some questions that we have received on, is it possible to do a profile assessment? Is it possible to help us with figuring out whether this is the right program and so on? I've shared a link in the chat. That is a link to a one-to-one conversation with our admission office. Feel free to book a conversation with us and we'll be happy to support. Being mindful of time, I'm summing up with one last question. Now, from an admission point of view, we keep saying that PGPMAX is a 15-month transformational journey. Now, having gone through 9 terms, now you're going to the 10th term, so 12, 13 months is already done. How would you define your transformation so far? And let me start with you, Suraj.
Thanks. That's profound, man. It's still in the process of transformation. So it's not transformed, and I don't think that ever ends. But like I said earlier also, it changed perspectives completely, permanently about many things, actually. It opens the ocean of opportunities and thought processes beyond just pharma. I mean, there was one question of automation and digital and all. So like I said, the coursework is spread around accounts, economics, microeconomics, macroeconomics, digital strategies, operations, pricing, regulation. We have potpourri of everything. What you draw from it or what you build on is up to you as a candidate, how you make it relevant and what you draw and what you build on it. But I mean, I know it sounds a little vague, but transformation is such a that you can't pinpoint one thing, but I feel and experience. When I ask questions to my marketing guys now, or when I ask questions to my CFO or CTO, even to myself, I feel like, hey, it is much more intelligent question and to the point question than being a very naive question. So that's in a nutshell that it does, it transformed the thinking process, having perspective about economy of our own country or other countries, about globalization. It does enrich a lot of thinking, and sometimes it's like now it's difficult to relate to what it was for 1 year ago or 15 months ago, although that time didn't know any of these things, but it's difficult to relate that, hey, how can I be so ignorant or naive to some of these things?
Thank you, Suraj. Ashish, what would it be for you? How would you define transformation in the program?
It was, as I said, like, okay, first and foremost, it pushed me out of my comfort zone. To be frank, enhancement of leadership skills, the strategic thinking, what strategy, you know, how do you analyze a complex situation, and how do you make decisions, and how do you develop a vision or a strategy? These kind of things, like getting a global perspective of business, like we talked about London Business School, getting a perspective on European way of European case studies. As In addition to that, the personal development through coaching, and lot of reflection I had every term I go. I have a list of things which kind of come out as a reflection point where I have to look into, work into. Ability to adapt, right? In those dynamic environment we have, like lot of, like, we sometimes are in a group who none of us have an experience of that subject, like we are talking about supply chain management. We have this group and no one has the experience of supply chain management, and the kind how we navigate that, that kind of that gives me a sense of adaptability that I learned. Yeah, these are the kind of transformation of, in addition to the skills I acquired, the knowledge I gained, a lot of personal development, I would say that.
Thank you, Ashish. Shekhar, how would you sum it as a transformation? Shekhar, I believe you're on mute. Shekhar, not able to hear you. Probably you're on mute.
I think we lost.
No, we can see him, but not hear him.
Hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, you're audible now.
Okay, all right. So I think, more from a transformational, I think it's still happening as but I think, what I've observed from the last being in the program for the last 12, 13 months, I think there's a personal shift in myself, which I think was completely different, if it was 12, 13 months earlier, or if I would not have joined this program. And the personal shift, and the shift is more in terms of how I interact and how you look at things in different perspective. So I think it's more about, for example, if I could cover it, it's more about now I look at things. The goal, right, is absolutely not to prove that I'm correct, right? But together, as a group, as a cohort, we want to look at how we can provide solutions to the problems, right? So I mean, this is one kind of change that I would say. I think it's more about that, right? So how do you kind of shift right, in terms of your thought process, and have that humility to appreciate things. I think that those are the things I would say, and it's still a journey. It is not going to happen overnight, right? Things that we would have learned as of today may not be relevant tomorrow. So that's why I was saying that change is, the shelf life of the change is very less nowadays. So you just need to keep reinventing yourself, unlearning and learning yourself, and transformation is going to happen quite often, right? Not once, not twice, maybe innumerable number of times.
Thank you, Shekhar. Thank you for sharing that. Now we have overshot time, so I'll wrap up the session with that final question. Thank you so much for joining us, especially on a Saturday evening. Now, to our panelists, a lot of our participants today are current applicants who are in the application stage, who are evaluating the program. So what you just laid out is going to give them a framework to evaluate the program, to vet the program, to see if this is the right program for them. And to our participants, thank you so much for pulling out this time over a weekend to join us. That shows your interest in the program. Hope these insights shared is helpful. If you need any additional support, feel free to connect with our admission office using the one-to-one link. Our speakers are also available in LinkedIn, so feel free to connect with them in LinkedIn as well. Thank you so much for being part of this program. Sorry, we couldn't take some of the questions, but we will be trying to answer some of these during the one-to-one conversations that we have. That's it. Have a wonderful weekend ahead. Thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you, Ashish, Suraj, and Shekhar, for being part of the panel.
Good luck, Thomas, and good luck to everybody.
Thank you, and good luck
Thanks,
to everyone.
Thomas. Good luck all. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you all.